Hello Udemy, I am Shakzee from Shakzee.com and welcome in lecture number 3rd. In last lecture we have successfully created our first controller and we set our database and in which file, you know very well, database.php file, and we have successfully created our, and we set some helpers and I think one library which is database library in autoload. And now we are going to create our first view and we are going to create our form, so we can receive some information or we can receive some request, or in simple words, user can give his username, password and whatever. Make sure we have our table, so user can अबे भाई यहाँ से नहीं है. Hello guys, I am Shakzee from Shakzee.com and welcome in lecture number 3rd. So we have successfully created our first controller, make sure, and we set our database, and we have successfully embedded our database in database.php file, and now we are going to create our first view and we are going to create our first form so user can insert the information. So first of all we are going to load our first view. So how can we do that? And so it's very simple, this load view. So which view we will create it, but for now home, so we are saying home. So go to your views directory, right click, new file, php file. I am saying that home. So we have successfully created our first view. So we are going to use that view. So I'm saying just a second, zoom. So HTML, and by the way it's just a header tag and title, create in CI means CodeIgniter, and make sure body. So here is your, this is the form. So make sure go to your root directory and write your controller's name, which is home. So it's view page source. So you can see we have, okay, to not remove one. So go to your controller, hit the refresh button. So this is the form. So now go to your get bootstrap before because we are going to embed Twitter bootstrap and our in this series. So home and download your Twitter bootstrap and download, compile CSS and JS files. So you can also embed your CSS and JS file, Twitter CSS and JS file using CDN, but we are going to download it. You can, okay, so cut your Twitter bootstrap files and go to your C, because I'm using XAMPP, so that's why XAMPP in htdocs. So it's our project, it's our root directory. So you can, we are going to create assets folder, right click, directory, assets. So in assets folder, in assets directory, you can see we have just created assets directory, paste your framework, which is Twitter framework, extract it. So now you have a CSS file and you have a JS file. So we are going to embed some CSS and JS file. How can we do that? We we are going to embed this by link, and we are saying href, and we are saying go to base URL, go to base URL and find assets folder, CS folder, and here is your asset CSS folder, bootstrap.css. so bootstrap.css file. So how can we embed JS file? So script type text/javascript, and we are saying where is the source. So I'm saying that embed, not site URL, base URL, and we are saying go to assets folder, JS folder, and we are saying assets JS bootstrap.js. so bootstrap.js file. So go to your root directory, hit the refresh button. Now you can inspect element console. Dollar is not defined bootstrap because we need jQuery. So cdn jQuery. Here is your cdn jQuery uncompressed version. Copy. So on top we are copied. Okay, it's not copying. Copy the button, paste. So we have successfully attached jQuery. Refresh. So now we need a popper is not defined, so popper.js is required. Here you can see popper.js required, so we can find popper.js in the JS directory bundle. Here is not defined. Okay, so you can copy this popper.js cdn and you can embed it. So now you have a popper.js file. Once you have all, okay, hit the refresh button. So now you can see nothing is happening here. Make sure we have successfully, so that means we have successfully embedded our Twitter bootstrap framework in our project. So go to your directory and hit the refresh button. So now you have the file. So we are going to create our form. You can create your form by using form helper, but I'm not going to create using form helper. So form, because it's a basics. So action, and we are going to send this form to where we have just created our home controller, and we are saying new user, means we are going to send this form to this method new user. We are going to create that method. So we are saying that form controller, form group, because of some padding, and make sure if you are not familiar with Twitter bootstrap, you can consider that I am just writing some HTML and some CSS classes. Okay, so input type, I'm saying it's text. What is the name? Make sure name. And class, I'm saying that form controller. Okay, and placeholder, make sure I'm going to set placeholder so we can creating our form user friendly. So I'm saying please insert your name. So you can copy and you can paste that here, because we are going to receive name and father name. Okay, two fields we are going to receive, so name and father name. We are creating our simple form, so you don't worry. Father's name and f name. Make sure we are setting name and f name, and we are going to receive. So go to your home controller and we are going to receive. So create your, because we are sending some information from HTML from our form to new user method. So create your new user method. So here we go. We are receiving some informations because we are sending some informations in name and father name. So we are receiving. So it's like you always it's like that we are receiving dollar post name. So you always receive in PHP and PHP 5 by using this. So it's the same thing. This, I'm saying this input, and I'm saying post, and I'm saying true. So it's received two parameter. First, the field name, which field name, because we have just created name equals to name, and name equals to f name. So field name, which field name, and in second parameter it's cross. We are validating this fields by providing second true in second parameter. So why we do that, you can see the documentation of CodeIgniter why we are providing true in second parameter. So I'm saying which is the second field, father name is the second field, father name, and we are going to store in variables. So we are creating the associative array. We are, data is the name of variables. Make sure you can give any name, xyz, whatever you can give. I'm using data name. So data is a variable's name, and we have just created that it's a associative array. So I'm saying that click and CRUD. Where is CRUD? Here is a CRUD. Right click on open table. So we have s name, s date, s. Make sure alter s status, save. So s name, s father name, I think father name, s father name, and so you can check your fields that it's coming or not in Vardam. So first of all, go to the root directory and hit the home controller. so it's working fine. Make sure we need a submit button so we can submit our form. So form group, and I'm saying button, and I'm saying that class button, and button primary. Make sure we are just, and it's a submit type is a submit insert. Okay, we are going to insert information. So go to your form, refresh the page, inspect element, localhost crud assets css bootstrap.css. Okay, so I forgot that you also provide real style sheet type text / css, and make sure you can wrap it. We can first use container, then row, and then column. So we are going to use column. Which column? I'm saying 6 columns. So you can put your content inside the column. So just ignore it if you are not familiar with Twitter Bootstrap, and just consider that I'm just writing HTML and CSS code. So now refresh the page. So now you have the fields. Please insert your name, insert your password, and hit the button. It's by default we are not providing, either we are using get method or post method, so that's why it's considered that we are going get method. So we are saying we are using post method. Now go to your root and hit the home controller. Now you can provide name, fname, hit the insert button. We are receiving now in name, here is your name, fname, here is your fname. So we have successfully received some information from HTML to our this method, news method. So now next step, we are going to create our model. So we can send this information to the model, and model can insert this information inside the database. So open your application. Make sure we are going to create our model inside our models directory. So new, make sure class, which I'm saying mod home. Make sure first letter is capital, and I'm saying I'm going to create model name mod home. Okay, so I have just created model named mod home. So extends CI, not CI controller, I'm saying CI model. So I'm going to create a method so we can insert it. I'm saying that add new user. So we receiving some information here, and we are saying that okay, we will do this. So now we have a home controller, mod home. Okay, so we can set this controller to auto load by giving some informations. So go to your config directory and open your autoload.php file, and go to your bottom. You can see we can set our models to auto load just by giving just name. So we have just created our model named mod home. So now we have our model. So now we are not going to load our model. So because we set that model to auto load, and now we just calling the method because we have the auto load. This which method, oh sorry, which model, mod home, and I'm saying which method because we have just created that method, this method, and we are sending that associative array which we have just created. So it's associative array we are sending to the model, and we are sending to the model from controller, and we are receiving that associative array inside the model. So we have received, and now we are saying this, sorry, db, and we are saying insert. It's required two parameters. First, table's name. We have just created our table's name, students, so students, and second, associative array. So it's an associative array because it has key and value. It's a key and its value. Make sure why we are doing this. So that's why I told you I consider that you have the basic knowledge of CodeIgniter. It can map because it's an object oriented environment, and we have created our database, and you know very well about, we have the inside our table we have our columns and name. So these are columns, and we can insert every time whenever we want to insert our records. So we can provide each and every column by default means a tuple and a row. So that's why it can map this key to this column. So it's a ORM tool, object relational mapping. So by default CodeIgniter providing some ORM tools, so you cannot do anything. So now we have two fields, and we are going to insert two fields inside the students table. So we can return, you can return it, return. So whenever a particular record inserted, it can generate, or it can return a true and false, it can return boolean, so a result. And we can check this by saying if we successfully insert a record. So we can check that we are saying that successfully inserted, otherwise we are saying we cannot insert your record right now. Okay, so here we go. You can, okay, so now go to your root directory and hit the home controller. Now provide some information. For suppose I'm saying Shahzad Ahmed, and I'm saying Kareem. Okay, so we are giving two fields. We are insert button, so it's saying successfully inserted. So we so you can check your database, refresh the database. So we are just giving two columns, means we are setting two entries. Here is your name and here is your father name. We are not giving the date. So how can you do that? You can perform, sorry, you can perform this by doing date method. Just a second. Now we have a second column named sdate, and we are saying this is our sdate. So now we are going to insert 3 columns. So here is your value, first value, second value, and this is your third value, and it can map your these keys, this because it's an associative array, these keys with your these columns. So now go to your root directory and home controller. I am saying Sana and I am saying Kareem. Hit the insert button. It's saying inserts successfully. You can refresh your table. So now we have our 2 entries. We have two tuples or 2 records, Sana and Shahzad. And before doing this, you must check either a particular student is already exist or not. How can you do that? You can first check if the student is exist, then generate an error, otherwise insert the record. So how can you do that? I'm saying this because we set our model to auto load. I'm saying this mod home, make sure, and I am saying check student and just sending that associative array to this method, and we are going to create this method inside our mode home controller. So here is your mode home controller, and you can create your public method, and we are sending, make sure we are sending associative array from controller, and we must receive that values inside our model. So here is your associative array sending from controller, and we are receiving that associative array inside our model. So it's not necessary you always give your variables name data. You can use anything. I'm saying students, it's upon you how can you do that. So I'm saying this db, I'm saying get where, we are providing 2 argument. Which argument? First of all, table's name. What is the table name? Student is our table's name, and we are saying just check where s name equals to s name. So why we are doing this? Because we are sending associative array from our controller, and we are receiving associative array from here. If you just want to send this information, so you can do that. You can send only this key and this value. So you can send this key and this value. So you must receive, because you are sending a single value, so you must receive a single value, but you can set this value, so it's fine. So that's why we are doing this. Here is your, you can student name, you can change this name, this variable to this variable. Now we are saying go to the database, go to a particular table, which table? Students, and find where s name equals to this. Okay, if the record is exist, we return an object. So we are receiving results on this variable, results, and we are saying results. If we receive some rows greater than 0, then we can say we can say this student, which student data, this student, we are concatenating our variable with a string already exist. So now we are checking a particular user in our table. If we student is already exist, it can generate an error and redirect to user. No, we are not redirecting, we just saying that this student is already exist. Okay, so go to your root directory, hit your home controller, here is your form. We have a student name Sana, and you can, because we are checking just student name, not father name, so we can XYZ insert. So now this student Sana already exists. You can check your table, refresh your table. So we have only 2 records. So now you are checking, before inserting some information inside your table, you are checking a particular students. If the student is not exist, then you are inserting a particular user. If the student is already exist, you are saying that this student is already exist. So it's enough for today, and we are going to give you some tips and tricks how can you generate a particular error like this, and a particular successful string or successful informations. How can you do that? We are going to use session, we are going to use flash data. So in our next lecture. So it's always, I am Shakzee from Shakzee.com. If you have any question and confusion, feel free to ask or leave a comment below to the video. So thank you for watching.